Hey guys, hey! Welcome back to another Star Wars movie review. This is Dash Show Rose here. I am back. Yes, I am back to do another Star Wars review. I actually haven't done one in a little while. I actually didn't get to one last week, and I'm gonna explain why. See, last week I was at my mother's house, and all that. I was at her house last week and all that because I was there basically, spending time with her and all that, She moved back, to Missouri and all that, and all that. Now, I told you guys I had some problems with her in the past, but I'm trying to put it aside and all that and trying to, spend time with her. So I was trying to do that and all that. I didn't get back until like Tuesday afternoon, and I had some appointments and all that, and I actually had some this week too. I'm having a lot of appointments. I actually had to go to the dentist, so. Yeah, unfortunately I have another cavity, but I'm gonna try to get that fixed here soon too. Yeah, I'm just not having the best luck with my teeth and all that. I've been brushing, I've been trying to avoid sugar. I think there's something else going on with the teeth, but I haven't been able to figure it out yet, so yeah, but yeah, I've been trying to make videos for you guys too. I've been trying to finish Luigi's Mansion 3 and all that. So, I've been making a lot of videos. I just haven't been watching Star Wars. And that is because these movies are very long and they're loud. So it's hard to watch them at night without waking my dad up. And my dad goes to bed very early. So, yeah, and I gotta clean up because I earn allowance money if I clean up. So I've been very busy. I have been very busy. So, but I'm back. I'm back, and I am here to do another review. This time we're gonna be reviewing The Empire Strikes Back. Now, out of the 3 original movies, people say that this one is the best. They say it's the best. Out of the 3, they say this one's the best. I can't tell you guys that because I have not seen Return of the Jedi in years. So I can't tell you guys, if it's the best or not. But let's go ahead and I can go ahead and give you guys my thoughts on it. Oh, but before I do that, I need to actually go over some notes here that I didn't bring up in the last video. I completely forgot about them. And these notes are from the last video that I did on Star Wars. One of them I was pointing out is how the intro is different. It's actually the same way in this movie, too. See, they actually changed, just like Disney, they changed, the 20th Century Fox changed their intro and all that. They updated it, so it's like impossible for you really to find the old logo on a lot of things. So, if you want to see the 2D, because the 2D 20th Century Fox logo looks really good, you have to, probably go find VHSs and stuff and all that. That's the only way I can think you can probably find that stuff. You might be able to find it in other places too, I'm not sure. But I do know that, there's studios out there, like Paramount. Paramount still has their old logos. I've watched a few films. I have Charlotte's Web and all that. They still have their old logos. But for some reason, some of the studios like to plaster their new logos on them, which I hate because I kind of want to see what they look like in 3D or HD or something like that, But unfortunately, I can't. So, you can get a 3D camera, but I don't know if it's ever going to capture the way they do it in Hollywood, but I don't know. But yeah, they did change the logo up. I didn't bring that up the last time. I'm bringing it up this time because I forgot. I also didn't bring up this too because Star Wars, the New Hope was the first Star Wars movie. The way they cut from scene to scene is actually different. It actually looks different. It's not like that every single time, but it is. You can tell they cut it a bit differently. like it cuts a bit differently to scene. Kind of like, when YouTubers and their avatars, if, depending on what YouTuber you watch, their avatar will change, but it'll change kind of differently, sometimes you can kind of notice it. That's kind of how the scenes were. I think it's because that film came out in the 70s, and that was Lucas's first, Star Wars movie. I think he might have made some films before that, I can't remember. But yeah, basically though, that was basically that was pretty interesting. I wanted to point out they don't really do that much in this film. This film is the scenes feel like what they do now, where they just cut from one scene to the next. Normally, I just thought I would point that out because I thought that was interesting. Also, I said Luke's different light. Oh yeah, I was gonna bring up Luke's different lightsaber. See, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I think Luke was originally gonna have a yellow lightsaber. I heard, like he was gonna have originally a yellow lightsaber, but because of him being in the sand and stuff, and due to the technology in the past, it would have been hard to blend, the yellow and the sand together. I heard. I'm not sure, that could be wrong, but I thought I'd point that out. And then, the last movie that I reviewed also had a different story that was changed by George Lucas's ex-wife. They're no longer married, of course. That's why I call it his ex-wife. But yeah, I heard the original story for that movie was kind of bad, so they changed it. So they made it better. And Obi-Wan wasn't going to die and all that, so it was going to be a whole different movie, but I don't know. I mean, I've made some bad scripts, too. I haven't actually made any of mine into cartoons or movies yet, but I do have some ready to make them into movies. But I've actually shared some on online and stuff, so they're out in public so people can see them. But yeah, but I thought I'd point that stuff out, because it's kind of cool, It's kind of cool, because some of that stuff that was originally going to be in the movie or all that, it's pretty cool to talk about. But yeah, but anywho, now we can talk about Empire Strikes Back. We can talk about this movie now, because this is the movie that I'm going to be talking about here. Now, I told you guys about the 20th Century Fox intro, how, I told you guys how it's different and all that, back when the movie first came out, because of, the technology and stuff back then. That is exactly how, well, that's not exactly, but that's how kind of this works here, too. See, the intro for now that they haven't changed the intro, but, for the Star Wars, movies and stuff, but if you watch the movies, the intro is, more instrumental, it sounds a bit more instrumental and all that, compared to the prequels, which is very odd. I'm not really sure why that is, but yeah, the prequels sound kind of different and all that, so I felt like that was kind of, interesting to point out, because that is true, if you play a Lego Star Wars game or something, the Complete Saga or something, yeah, the music sounds a bit more instrumental than it does in the prequels when you play the levels or something. Which personally, I think the prequels have a better sound effect. I think they sound a bit better in my opinion, even though they don't have as many instruments playing. At the very start of the song that goes into the intro, showing off, the text and stuff before they get to the movie. But I think overall, though, they're both pretty good. But yeah, the prequels, I think, did that a bit better. But anywho, so now we're in the Empire Strikes Back. So what is this movie about? Well, it's actually, honestly, it's basically just like the other movies. Basically, they're in war and stuff, and they're fighting and all that. For some reason, they're hanging out on a snowy planet. I don't think they ever explain why they're on this snowy planet. They just are, like, they're just camping out on this snowy planet. I guess they could be hiding from Darth Vader. I'm not sure. But they don't even mention Darth Vader, like, appearing until, until later. So I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure why that is. Speaking of Darth Vader, actually, his voice actually sounds a bit different. Like, his voice sounds more like what Darth Vader sounds like now if, James Earl Jones were voicing him. See, in the first movie, his voice, I think it's because it's the first Star Wars movie, his voice sounds a bit off. But, like, as the films go on, yeah, because I know other people play Darth Vader, but his voice sounds a lot better in this movie than it did in the last one, in my opinion. The last movie, it wasn't bad, but I think his voice sounds a bit better in this one. I think it's because James Earl Jones has been practicing voicing Darth Vader and all that. So yeah, but I think it sounds a lot better. But yeah, I really don't get either. Like I said, I don't really get why they're just on this planet. Like, they're just on this planet, and then these snow walkers just come out of nowhere. These camel looking things that just come out of nowhere and start shooting, them. They start shooting them and all that, and because they use the droid to locate their the rebel base. So that's pretty interesting. So they end up all fleeing while Luke goes to Dagobah, because Luke was told by Obi-Wan to go to Dagobah after getting hunted by a snow monster. Luke was kidnapped by a snow monster. So there was that, but yeah, I just think, that was pretty interesting, though. I do like that they added, like a snow monster on this planet, that they were on, so they're not alone and all that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I do really like that. I do. And then, we got, and then we basically, they leave the planet, like I said, to go to, they go through an asteroid field and all that they're escaping, the Empire and all that, while Luke is going to Dagobah to train with Yoda. And I gotta say, if you guys think Buck Wild from Ice Age is insane, freaking Yoda in this movie is freaking, like, insane as hell. Like, he's just, this old coot has just been hanging out all by himself far too long, and he's digging through Luke's bags and stuff for, like, food and stuff, and he's all kooky laughing. It's really funny. Like, it really is. Like, it makes me kind of chuckle just watching it. It's hilarious. I really like that a lot. I really do. Because we don't really, well, I haven't really seen, Yoda like that before, because I've been watching the prequels, and those came out years later. But I guess it makes sense, like I said, because, Yoda's been on that planet all by himself far too long and all that, and I do really like that scene. I like the scene where he's training Luke and all that to let go of his emotions, fear, because that's what drove Anakin to the dark side, was fear, so he's trying to make Luke not face the same fate Anakin did, return to the dark side, and then, basically, he ends up sensing that Leia and Han and all the others are in trouble, so he goes to save them, because he has some visions about it, but then they actually come true, because they do end up getting kidnapped as he's going to save them, because he does have actually quite a bit of visions throughout the movie and all that. But they go to save him, and Han Solo basically meets Lando. That's where he gets betrayed at. they all get betrayed by Lando, because Lando is using them because Vader was there first and all that, and Han Solo gets turned to he gets turned to basically like whatever the statue thing is. I'm not sure what you would call it, but while and he gets taken to Jabba. But he gets taken to Jabba, and basically Boba Fett takes him with him, because Boba Fett's the one who went after him. And I gotta say that, Boba Fett's voice is actually different, too. See, I actually watched apparently wasn't sure if I was watching, because I haven't seen the movies in a long time, so I wasn't sure what changes they made to the movies. Well, I knew the changes they made, I just didn't know what the originals were all about. But apparently, though, they changed I saw the Emperor's, new design and all that, knowing that that means they changed his looks and all that. So they were updating it a bit and all that. So they did the same thing with Boba Fett's voice, because Boba Fett's voice was like, you could hardly hear him very well originally. Some people might prefer that voice of his, but personally, I think he sounds a bit better in this movie compared to the other. Just because basically, he sounds a bit, his voice sounds a bit cleaner, and you can understand him more. Although I hear he was voiced by someone else. If that's the case, though, that kind of sucks, because I kind of would like to have the original voice actor who actually voiced him to voice Boba Fett, but I don't really know. I don't know how this works and all that, but yeah, I kind of wish he would have had the same voice actor, but I am glad they at least make his voice clean. I just wish they'd have the original voice actor, if that's true, which I'm not sure, again, if it's true or not, but that's just what I've heard from people, that they actually gave him a different voice actor for the re-releases of these movies. Because I got the Blu-ray release, not the one that Disney made, but we've had this we had this made before the prequel, the sequel trilogy even came out. Even before Disney bought Star Wars, we had this, so we had it for a long time. But yeah, So yeah, basically though, this is basically what Boba Fett's voice sounds like, but we also get moments where where Luke is basically going to front Vader, and he fights Vader and all that, and then he gets his hand chopped off, not his arm, his hand, and then we get probably the most iconic scene in all of Star Wars history. I really wish there were video footages of people reacting to this in the theaters. There probably some videos somewhere of it, because I know they don't want you recording, people don't want you recording stuff in the theaters because they don't want you copying the movie, but they probably could have had some videos of people doing that back then. I'm not sure, but people are probably flipping out in their chairs being like, what? Darth Vader is Luke's father? No way! Because in the last film, they actually were building it up. They were building it up as Luke, They were building it up as Luke, being, having Vader as a father, because, because Obi-Wan talks about Darth Vader and stuff, so they were actually playing this one from the first movie. That's why they let Vader go. I'm not sure in the original script if he actually died or not, like if they killed him off or something. I'm not sure when George Lucas's ex-wife fixed the script, but I like this better because then it shows that Vader could have a decent personality. Maybe he's not a bad guy, but I don't know. I do know, though, that, basically, like the whole Leia scene, though. See, Leia Leia can actually sense. They start showing Leia having the Force here, meaning Leia actually could be related to Luke. The thing is, though, is this is actually something that's actually true, that they are sister and brother, but they weren't. But this wasn't originally going to be the case. Originally, in the first movie, Luke was going to be and Leia were going to be a couple, but they changed it up, which I kind of like that. They changed that up. And it doesn't feel forced because they were still building it up. You know, it wasn't something that was changed at the last minute when they already had everything else already set. They actually set this up really well, which I like. But yeah, we got some. Yeah, this film overall, though, this film basically is pretty good. I really do like this film a lot. I think I agree with fans, at least when it comes to the first one. This movie is definitely better than the first one. I definitely think it's better. I think the battle with Darth Vader is much better. It is much better, like than the one with Obi-Wan. It's a lot more. The animation looks a bit more cleaner, and all that. And I just think it looks a lot better. Although I do have to question why they gave Luke a father, like flying in the ship, in this in this scene. There's like a scene where he's flying in the ship, which makes no sense, because well, it doesn't make any sense because they say that in the first movie that Luke's real father was Vader and all that, and they don't even show his father in the first movie, so I'm like, they kind of just threw that out of nowhere, and he just gets killed not much later after he gets introduced. So I think that was kind of a pointless scene, but yeah, I wanted to point that out too, because I meant to write that down, but I forgot, but luckily I remembered. But yeah, overall, like I said, this film is really good. Like, this film is definitely a masterpiece, and I can definitely see why people like this film a lot. Now, do I think this film is great? Like, do I think it's like the best film I've ever seen? No. I think, personally, I prefer I like animation over live action films for the most part. There are a few films where I do like the live action movies over the animation, but I think this film is still really good. Like, this film is still really good. I'm definitely giving this a good, and I'm giving this movie 120 points. What can I say, though? This film right here is definitely a really good film. I really like how they build up on the last movie, and they finally reveal that Darth Vader is actually Luke's father. I really like that a lot. I really do. And I think the locations in this movie are much better than the last one. The last one, to be honest, they really don't have that many decent locations. They kind of spend a lot of the movie on the Death Star and all that, and then they got like a movie where they're like on this desert planet. But I think the locations in this movie are definitely better. Like, I like the Cloud City effect. I like the part where they're like they're on this snowy planet at the beginning of the movie. I still question why they were there, if they thought they defeated Darth Vader, because I don't think they mentioned any. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they realized Darth Vader escaped, but they don't really reveal that. So I really don't know. But overall, though, besides a few complaints here and there with Luke's dad and all that, like fake dad and all that, I think overall this film is really good. Like, it is definitely an improvement over the last one. This one's probably up there with Revenge of the Sith. That's how good this movie is. I think what really makes this movie good is Yoda himself. I think Yoda is such a goofball in this movie. I really like him. He's very funny and enjoyable, and I just love this movie a lot. I definitely won't be watching these Star Wars movies over and over again often, but I would come back to this film. I really would come back to this one a lot more than A New Hope, just because this one's a lot more interesting. A New Hope was good, but I like the the locations better in this one. And I like Yoda better, but they're all really good. I don't think so far there's been a bad Star Wars film. There's been like a meh, like I think the first movie, either the first one or Attack of the Clones was meh, but the rest of them have been very good. So we'll have to see what Return of the Jedi's like, and then we got the sequel trilogy, which honestly, what I've seen of the sequel trilogy, which I've not seen a lot, but what I've seen or heard, yeah, it doesn't sound very good. So we'll have to see when we get to them, but overall, though, I'm going to go ahead and let things go from here. I'll probably upload this video later because I'm going to be taking a bath here soon, because I haven't taken a bath yet today. But anywho, see you guys all next time. And remember, guys, the Force is always with you. Always. Bye-bye.